Concept of Sunnah in the Muwatta of Malik ibn Anas, Mcgill University, 1969. We have already noted Malik's view on dowry, that the least amount allowable is 1/4 of a dinar. And we have also noted that this opinion of Malik was against the practice of the Prophet and that of Umar. It is also against the opinion of Sa'id ibn Musayyib and Rabi'a ibn Abdurrahman. The agreement of the Prophet, Umar, Sa'id ibn Musayyib, etc. In fact, it was tantamount to consensus, as Malik has not reported any difference on the point from any scholar of Medina, past or present. Despite this fact, Malik declared that the least amount of dowry must be 1/4 of a dinar. Shafi asked Dawardi whether there was any scholar in Medina who held the opinion that the least amount of dowry was 1/4 of a dinar. He said, quote, "No, by God, I do not know anyone who said so before Malik." And that is underlined. No, by God, I do not know anyone who said so before Malik. Malik claimed consensus, saying al-amr indana, that a Muslim will not be killed for non-Muslims. Against this claim of Malik, there are many great authorities in Medina who do not share Malik's view, and there is no agreement on the blood money of a non-Muslim. Malik has reported the decision of Umar ibn Abdul-Aziz that if a Jew or a Christian is killed, his blood weight should be half the blood weight of a free Muslim. It is interesting to note that after recording the decision of Umar ibn Abdul-Aziz, Malik, endorsing a statement of Sulaiman bin Yasar, says, "Wahuwa al-amr indi," and that is the opinion with me. No Arabic given. This statement of Sulaiman bin Yasar is different from the decision of Umar ibn Abdul-Aziz according to Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani. Malik reported a precedent of the Prophet that he killed a Muslim for a non-Muslim. Rabi'a ibn Abdurrahman, a great scholar of Medina, held that a Muslim will be killed for a non-Muslim. Umar ibn Khattab decided a case where a Muslim was killed for a Christian of Hira. That was the practice of Ali ibn Abi Talib too. One of the greatest personalities and the most respected authorities of Medina, Ibn Shihab, held that the blood money of a dhimmi, a protected person, during the caliphates of Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman was equivalent to the blood money of a free Muslim. Malik has expressed divergent opinions from these authorities, yet he declares, quote-unquote, consensus. The letter written by Layth ibn Sa'd to Malik ibn Anas contains very significant material which supports the idea of the consensus we have been discussing. After showing how the companions of the Prophet spread throughout the caliphate after the Prophet's death and how differences arose in their opinions, Layth reminded Malik that many differences existed among the successors. He says, the successors like Sa'id ibn Musayyib and others of his caliber differed widely among themselves. Those who followed them disagreed with one another. I myself had been their pupil and attended them. Nowadays, Ibn Shihab and Rabi' ibn Abdurrahman are their leaders. As you've attended Rabi'a, you are fully aware of his divergent opinions. I myself have heard what you said against him. I have also heard the difference of opinion amongst other scholars of Medina who are older than he. Yet Yahya bin Sa'id, Ubayd ibn Umar, Kathir ibn Farqad, and many others. So much so that you are forced to leave this group due to the uncompromising attitude of Rabi'a. Abdulaziz ibn Abdullah, you and I discussed these issues which we did not like. Both of you agreed with me on the issue on which I was not in agreement with Rabi'a. When he met Ibn Shihab, we found that he held many divergent doctrines. It happened often that when he wrote to any of us, he gave 3 answers to one question, contradicting one another, not knowing what he had said in reply to that particular issue previously. These were the reasons due to which I dared to express my opinion against the opinions of the scholars of Medina, but you showed your displeasure with it. Then Layth gives some examples of the controversial issues amongst the Medinese scholars. One issue is whether at the expiry of 4 months, the essential requisites of divorce on mutual condemnation of spouses in the Qur'an, divorce occurs or not. Layth reminds Malik, you hold that an expiry of 4 months divorce does not occur if the husband is not asked to appear before an authority. Against this doctrine of Malik, Layth ibn Sa'd points out that Uthman ibn Affan, Zayd ibn Thabit, Qabisa ibn Zuwayb, and Salama ibn Abdurrahman ibn Auf, Sa'id ibn Musayyid, Abu Bakr ibn Abdurrahman, Al-Harith ibn Hisham, Ibn Shihab held that the wife should be automatically divorced at the expiry of 4 months. Layth ibn Sa'd cites another example. Zayd ibn Thabit held that when a husband delegates his rights of divorce to his wife and she chooses to remain with him, even then she would be considered divorced, even if she does not divorce herself. If she exercises the delegated right of divorce thrice against herself, she would be considered divorced once. Abdul Malik ibn Marwan decided in accordance with this, and Rabi'a ibn Abdurrahman held the same. After quoting the doctrine of Zayd ibn Thabit, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan and Rabi' ibn Abi Abdurrahman, Layth ibn Sa'd points out to Malik that there was consensus of the people in Medina on the points, namely, that if the wife chose to remain with the husband, no divorce would occur. Here Layth ibn Sa'd has pointed out to Malik that the consensus in that regard was not according to the claim of Malik, rather the consensus of the people of Medina was contrary to it. Layth ibn Sa'd also reminds Malik, when Zufar ibn Asim al-Hilali wanted to say prayer for rain, istisqa, you, Malik, asked him to say the prayer before the address. I protested against it strongly because the prayer for rain and the address is analogous to the Friday prayer. Umar ibn Abdulaziz, Abu Bakr ibn Muhammad ibn Hazm, and all others in Medina used to address before the prayer. That is why all the people felt the weakness of Zufar's practice, and they detested it. Here Layth has told us that the people of Medina had agreement on this issue. The great leaders and scholars like Umar ibn Abdulaziz, Abu Bakr ibn Muhammad ibn Hazm practiced accordingly, but Malik disagreed with all of them and held a solitary opinion. In other words, Malik did not accept the agreement of the people or scholars of Medina and opposed it, and he claimed consensus or agreement of the people or the scholars of Medina when, in fact, this consensus was his own opinion, or at best it was supported by a few of the scholars of Medina. Stay tuned for many more parts.